Welcome to this episode of The Soul Trap. A lot of times we come and we have fun. Sometimes we come to the Soul Trap and it's scary. Sometimes it's speculation. Sometimes it's trying to connect dots. Tonight is probably, I think, one of the heaviest times we've ever come. We're doing this live tonight because we feel like it's a moment that needs to be captured at the very moment and important. In fact, we just finished up our church service here maybe an hour or so ago. We've got our full complement of production staff that's in the studio taking their time to be here tonight. In just a few minutes, we're going to be bringing on a couple guests that we think have something to add and possibly even more. But most of all, I wanted to take a moment and say thank you. Thank you for joining us here tonight. I know it's late. I know you're tired. I know you've probably had a long day. And I know probably you just want to get away from it all, but I appreciate you being with us. And for the next few moments of time, while we're here together in this studio, I want it just to be you and me, just us, just talking, because I feel like we're all lonely. I feel like we're all scared. I feel like we're all trying to make sense, and we all want to have a voice. And so we're going to do that. If you have a question, post that question in the stream. Samuel is going to get that to me. And we just want to talk. I want to talk with you, and you talk with me. And together, let's talk tonight about not just what happened here with Charlie Kirk, but what's happening with the world out there, and then ultimately what's happening with the world in here. If you know, you know. Today, earlier this afternoon, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. Let's just recap what we know has happened. I'm going off of just mainstream information here. Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist, co-founder and CEO of Turning Point USA, was speaking at a campus event at Utah Valley University. The event was part of his American Comeback Tour, specifically a Prove Me Wrong style debate table. Around 12:10 p.m. Mountain Time, a single shot was fired. Kirk was hit in the neck. He was taken to a hospital and later died from his injuries. The shot is believed to have come from a building on the campus, roughly 200 yards away from the stage. Now, we're not going to get into the conspiracy theory right now, but I do want you to note that it was a single shot. There were not multiple gunshots. Second of all, 200 yards is not an easy shot to make. However, videos and witnesses report showing him recoiling while speaking with visible bleeding from the neck. We have the video, and we may actually show that if you haven't seen it already. Now, early reports of a, quote, person of interest was taken into custody. That person was later released. Authorities currently say the shooter is still at large. I'm not sure that that is the case. I think they have actually arrested somebody. And Samuel, if you'll double check on the research if they have somebody in custody right now. The FBI, the ATF, local university police, and state law enforcement are all involved in the investigation. Utah's governor, Spencer Cox, has called it a political assassination. President Donald Trump announced Kirk's death and ordered flags at half-staff in his honor. Public figures across political lines have condemned the act. The identity of the shooter is unknown. The motive is not fully established, though many are treating it as a politically motivated assassination. Exactly from which building the shot was fired is not 100% confirmed by preliminary reports. And here we are. We witnessed Charlie Kirk shot down like a dog, and once again, one of the most influential political leaders of our time, and I could argue with you, was actually becoming even maybe more influential than somebody like Donald Trump or J.D. Vance, because Charlie Kirk had the ear of the youth, is shot down and silenced. What are we to make of it? What is happening? Why does it feel like this is so much more traumatic than anything we have experienced, even more so maybe than the Ashley Babbitt? And let's not forget, she likewise was shot down. Well, there's a lot we want to discuss. We're interested in what your questions are. We're interested in talking. And in this particular situation, I reached out earlier to a good friend, a well-known friend here at the Soul Trap, and that is Jeffrey Grider of Now the End Begins. We're going to bring Jeffrey on. We're going to be talking with Camden here in just a few moments, another friend of ours. But Grider, it's good to have you on the show. It's kind of not good in this situation. But welcome to the Soul Trap. Thank you so very much for being with us this late hour.
Well, thank you for having me on. I love coming into the Soul Trap. I just wish it was under different circumstances than what it is tonight. And I know that you said that we're not going to focus on the conspiracy theory angle, but it
No,
is,
no, no, only for right now. Only by way of introduction.
yeah,
we are going to get to that here in just a minute. Go ahead.
yeah, and absolutely. What happened to Charlie Kirk today was a political assassination. Make no mistake about that. That is no conspiracy. He was taken out while saying the words mass gang shootings. I mean, he was specifically asked a question about mass shooters. And as he was answering that question, the bullet hit him right in the neck, and just what his wife and children must be going through tonight.
Yeah.
It is sobering. It is heartbreaking. And I
Yes.
know that everybody who listens to the Soul Trap and Now the End Begins, lifting up the Kirk family in prayer tonight.
Yeah.
And that's really where we have to start with this program.
I agree. I mean, that's the thing. I definitely, I'm not going to use the term conspiracy because, guys, when we say conspiracy, it implies an element of the unknown or truth. There is definitely something, that doesn't, that is orchestrated. I mean, we can get into, the person of interest that they arrested. The initial one that we saw in the video was an older man. Certainly did not look like a gunman. I don't even believe that was the one. I don't know what the current state of it is. Samuel, do we know if they have one in custody right now?
No one in custody right now.
No one in custody right now. There you go. So somebody takes a shot. It looked like to me, it sounded like to me, and Kevin, you would have a better take on this. It sounded like to me a rifle.
Oh yeah,
shot,
for sure.
That was a rifle. The second thing that was very interesting to me, and in a way I think it's good because he didn't suffer. I believe Charlie Kirk passed away right there on the spot. I don't think that. I think he was dead before he hit the ground. And absent from the body, present with the Lord. Even though he wasn't our stripe, I believe Charlie Kirk was a Christian. I really do.
So do I.
Yeah, and so a 200-yard kill shot, and we don't know who he is. Now, we knew on 9/11 that it was 19 hijackers. We knew who all 19 of them were before the buildings hit the ground just about. But we don't have any idea who this guy was, and nobody knows. And it just, the whole thing, it just doesn't feel right. What's your take? Give me the 35,000 foot Now the End Begin Jeff Grider take. What's our view on this? And guys, you feel free to jump in on this as well. And we got Camden here. We're going to introduce him to you guys in just a few minutes. He's in the waiting room here in the green room. But what's the 35,000 foot view on this, Grider?
Well, you have to look at where we are. Today is September 10th. Tomorrow is the anniversary, the 24th anniversary of 9/11. Okay. World War II started in September. It started in Poland on September 1st in 1939. Today, or yesterday, it's all kind of blurring together.
Yeah, really.
But Poland shot down Russian drones. We got there is so much happening in this month. And even before the events of what happened this afternoon, our plate was already full with Emmanuel Macron going to the United Nations and creating a state of Palestine. And then yesterday, Israel launches that massive precision strike on Hamas in Doha. So,
Doha,
yeah. In the midst of all of this, I think first and foremost, what we are going to see in the direct aftermath, and you can quote me on this, you can write this down, but I think one of the things that we are going to see almost immediately in the direct aftermath of this killing is we are going to see Trump unleashed. We are going to see in every major Democratic city, we're going to see boots on the ground. We are going to see a very strong move to an authoritarian state. And I don't like to talk this way so soon after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I won't say he was killed. He was assassinated. Words matter. There is a difference. And I hate to talk like this so soon after he was assassinated. But I believe he was the sacrificial lamb to put over the edge the justification for the authoritarian state that has to come. And I believe it is going to come at a speed that is going to astonish us. And we are on, if it was 2 months ago that guy Big Balls, and I forget his name, but that's what they called him, right? That was his official nickname from Doge, right?
Yeah.
Right. And he was sacrificed with a very fake and phony carjacking. Nothing fake about what happened to Charlie Kirk today, but this was definitely set up. It was premeditated. It was orchestrated. It was a political assassination. And we now have to look who benefits from this.
Well, it's okay. So it ties in, and it ties in as well too, because here's what's interesting to me. I flew back. This is a long day for me, man. I was actually this morning at 5 a.m. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Wow.
But here's the thing. I was telling somebody, we were talking, what's the girl's name? I promised myself I was going to remember. Arena. I said, I don't believe that was a psyop, but if ever there was a psyop, look, that killing of her, you've got this blonde hair, blue eyed girl from the Ukraine, just happens to be from the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. She's sitting on a bus surrounded by black people. This guy's been in and out of jail 14 times. If anybody could be programmed, he hits her with a precision cut, cut. She bleeds out. Nobody helps her. And I mean, there is just this boiling, percolating thing. Then this happens here. And man, I'm going to tell you, I voted for Trump for all, to be very clear. I voted for Trump, but I'm going to tell you something. I told my people tonight, if you were to look since Trump has been in office, I don't know that America has gotten any better, but I can tell you one thing we've done. We've got more global potential for war than we've ever had before. He's in Venezuela. He's going all over the place. And now we got federal troops marching into cities. And yes. I agree with you. I think this has and people are angry, man. People are mad. They're frustrated and they're ready for it. In other words, I think you're going to see a large swath of America go, bring them in. We're tired of all this stuff.
And that's Ukrainian woman that you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
She was hit with a precision strike to her throat in almost exactly the same place that Charlie Kirk was hit.
Exactly.
Come on, man. Come on.
Exactly. Well, we're going to come back. I mean, you stay right there, but we want to introduce, I'm going to bring on Camden Benninghouse. We're so glad to have him. Let's bring him on. Do I need to turn anything down? No, maybe on your end just a little bit. I'm getting a lot of feedback here. Bear with us. Are you hearing the feedback, Brother Grider? Are you hearing the feedback, Camden? I think it's that. Are we good? All right. Can you hear us, Camden?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Listen, we have you real quick. The name of your book. Tell me the name of your book.
It's called Fearless Masculinity.
Fearless Masculinity. A great book, a great young man. We wanted you to come on real quick because I know Sam, you're 22. Camden, how old are you?
22 as well.
22. What did it mean to you? I've seen you with pictures. You've met Charlie Kirk. You've been with him. What did it mean to you to hear him today being assassinated?
It's been a lot of emotions. I think I've been through every emotion there is today. I think like shock and anger and just confusion because it feels like I lost someone I know. It feels like I personally lost somebody because he really touched me. And like, I don't think I would have done so many of the things I've done without Charlie Kirk. He's the inspiration for my boldness and things like that. I had the opportunity to debate him on my college campus and just the dialogue to be able to talk and work things out. He brought that to so many colleges where it was just so liberal and so depressing. He brought some hope and some light. And actually this hat is signed by him. And for some reason, I woke up today and put a Charlie Kirk shirt on. I never wore that shirt. Today I just put it on in the morning and then this stuff happens later in the day and I'm just so confused. But I do know one thing, the evil like this, when I see evil like this, it doesn't make me question my belief in God. It actually makes me stronger in my faith, because with
Yeah.
evil, there has to be good and there has to be a God, because it doesn't make sense in the world if you
Yeah.
don't believe in anything after.
Yeah. Jeff, what do you think? What do you think was his appeal from our perspective? What do you think was his appeal to the younger generation?
Well, he was a very bold voice, and he had a platform, and he asked a lot of questions like, when you sit in the audience and you say to yourself, man, I wish they'd put me in that chair, because if I was in that chair, this is what I would ask them. And Charlie Kirk was one of those people. He was a very bold person, very strong Christian. He posted so much about salvation in Jesus Christ and all this stuff. And he wasn't afraid, and he was very smart, very intelligent, and he just put it out there every single time, almost selflessly, and he was very authentic. Now he appeals to the young people. I'm 64, going to be 65. I wouldn't qualify as a young person, but every time that I heard him talk, it was just, he had an authentic voice, and he had passion, and people believed it because it was true.
Yeah. Yeah. Camden, what do you think? What do you think is to pick up the baton? How does the younger generation pick up the baton and go forward with him?
I think that this did exactly the opposite of what the assassin would want it to do, because you would think, okay, I'm going to go kill Charlie Kirk to try to silence a bunch of people, make them scared to go out, make them scared to speak up. But I think the exact opposite is going to happen. I think so many people like myself, a lot of people are going to be so angry and upset with this kind of thing that it's going to actually make them want to speak up more and want to fight back against the evil, because that's what Charlie Kirk would want us all to do right now.
Yeah, I think so.
The three things that Trump said when he got shot was fight, fight, fight. I think the same thing Charlie Kirk would have said as well to us, if he could say anything right now, is don't stop fighting. This is just a beginning. When they do that to us, it's to try to silence you, to try to get you to be scared. But this just births thousands of more people that are truth seekers and truth fighters.
I think you're so right. Camden, where can people go to check out your book?
CamdenBettinghouse.square.site, or just search Fearless Masculinity on Google. Charlie Kirk is one of the reasons I that book. So he really inspired me to be bold and actually speak out about the beliefs I have. So
hey, that's fantastic. Camden, thanks for coming on with us. We appreciate you taking a few minutes, and keep fighting the good fight, man. We'll be in touch with you real soon. All right.
Nice to meet you.
So I wanted you to meet him. What a sharp young man, and Soul Trap guys. You guys need to go check out his book. I had somebody say to me tonight, I had somebody say to me tonight, come up after the service and say, I got saved because I gave the Bible a second look after hearing Charlie Kirk.
Wow.
Andrew, a man in our church.
Yeah.
So we're going to be taking some questions here from the Soul Trap, but what are we saying? I know that I know that we got to be patient. You don't want to run out ahead and that kind of thing like that. But what are we saying? And I'm going to ask Sam the same thing. Kevin, what are we saying about this event? Because I don't know for sure. There's still conflicting reports. Some people are saying that the FBI director is saying they do have somebody, they don't. What do we mean by they took him out? Are we saying this is a left operation? Are we saying it's an in-house operation? Are we saying that it's never let a tragedy go to waste? We didn't intend it, but it's there. What are we saying? Sam, Kevin, what do you guys, from your observation, what are you thinking? And then I'm gonna let you come back, Brother Jeff. What are your thoughts on this? Take me off, and you put you two and him on there.
I can't hear you guys.
Hey, can you hear us now?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, we're live.
We're locked in.
We are live. All right. Well, it is what it is.
It's probably with the live show. But to answer your question, if I were to jump off of it, I don't know if you can specifically say right now that there was a certain force behind it, whether it was a left attack from the left or from the government. I wouldn't know yet. It could have just been some crazy person, with all the rhetoric thrown out about the right-wing conservatives being Nazis, being Hitler, supporters like that. Anyone could have thought they're doing the work of the Lord by this event. But I do know that the consequences of it will be dire, because I'd be willing to bet you that the reason Donald Trump was elected this year, why so many new first-time voters voted Republican, is for a man like Charlie Kirk. And if you want to get to the nation, you got to get to these young people coming out of college. And I think, personally, whoever did this event knew that.
Yeah.
That's why you go for someone who's not involved in politics. He's just a spokesperson who's sharing his opinion with other people. And I think that probably why they went for him, whoever did it.
What do you think, Kevin? How deep is the conspiracy hole? Because I think I know where Jeff is going. Because I think he and I are going the same route. But
Man, well, for me, you got to tie it into everything that's going on right now.
yeah, well, I got to say something real quick.
Okay,
'cause
do
Chris Ray on the stream here on the live stream says, and I think it's exactly right. Single shot, accurate, deadly 200 yards.
Yeah, yeah.
This person was trained pro from somewhere.
100%.
Chris Ray, I think, is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you giving a thumbs up, Jeff?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be ugly.
Just
about
as
it,
accurate as the sniper was.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that is not an easy shot to make. 200 yards. I mean, and you're looking at a very small target too. A very small target. You took out his voice. He took one. That's where that's what he had. It was his voice, and you completely took that out. So if you weren't going to kill him, you were going to maim him and completely wreck, whatever he was going to do from there on out. Right. But as we talked earlier, brother Grider and I talked just briefly earlier about this and how that with you tie this in. First, you have the young lady being stabbed to death on there. So now you got the race riots going on. You got the race fuel going on there. Then you move to Charlie Kirk being assassinated. Now you got the political coming in. So now you're giving the right a reason to march. So you give them the right a reason to stand up. And now you're going to start bringing in troops into Chicago. I mean, Chicago is crazy. I mean, more people die in Chicago than in Afghanistan, than in the Middle East. I mean, Chicago's a dangerous place. But now you're going to have that going on. Now you're going to it's just boiling up everywhere, all around us. Now it just needs. I feel like this today was like the tipping point. This is what pushed it off the edge. Like when if you look at the Joker in The Dark Knight, and when he said that all it needs is a little push. This was the push that's going to just push everything over the edge. And what Brother Grider said there in the beginning, how now you're going to see Trump unleashed. You better believe there's going to be hell to pay, and it's going to affect everybody.
So what do you think, Jeff? How deep does this rabbit hole go?
Well, first of all, Charlie Kirk, Brother Kevin just talked about a tipping point. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but the name of his organization is Turning Point. Okay. And Charlie Kirk was a political commentator. He was a social media influencer. He was an outspoken Christian, but you know what he is now? Now he's a martyr for the cause, is what he is. Because if we're going to say it was a political assassination, then martyrs get assassinated. Okay. He is, and I can't even believe these words are about to come out of my mouth, but he is going to become on the opposite side of the aisle. He's going to become the new George Floyd. Okay. That's what you're going to see. Now, let me take you back to July 17th of 2024. Donald Trump is speaking at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, right? And you have a kid up on the roof, on the slanted roof, grassy knoll. I know you went to Dallas 2 years ago, and you had this post high school kid. He's a nerd with pimples on his face and glasses, and he's on a slanted roof, right? And yet he's pulling off these shots that it would take a highly, highly trained person to carry out. They have no interest in questioning him. They shoot him dead before, just like Lee Harvey Oswald, they shoot him dead before he can talk. Okay.
Yeah.
And everybody who listens to me on Now the End Begins knows that what I'm about to say, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, I am a firm believer in it. When Donald Trump was hit with that shot to his right ear, it was a warning shot. Okay. And he was warned, you better carry out the agenda we're going to give you, or this shot's going to go between your eyes or into one of your family members. So Charlie Kirk was sacrificed. Charlie Kirk is a martyr. And what you're going to see is you are going to see Charlie Kirk be put up to the same type of deification that George Floyd was. And it's going to be our Reichstag moment, where this is going to be the justification for what's about to come down the pike.
Well, you know what's interesting? Samuel just brought up doing some research on this in connection with the occult. September, and of course, not just the occult, but it always mirrors the Bible. But September is the month of harvest, where sacrifices were done, animals and humans, to bring in the desired outcome in the Roman, Babylonian, and Celtic religions. That's what September is.
Right.
Now, when you think about that, I'm going to read that again. It's the month where sacrifices were done to bring in the desired outcome in the Roman religions, Babylonian, and Celtic. We had the great big sacrifice on 9/11/2001.
Mm-hmm.
Huge, right? And now you're sitting there talking about a sacrificial lamb.
Yep.
And I really feel like there's so much anger right now. There's so much reverse discrimination, not reverse discrimination. There is such a thing as black fatigue. There's ghetto fatigue. People are tired. They're frustrated. This guy gets shot. They're tired of the transgender. They're tired. And the difference, here's what my take is. My take is that we don't riot. What we do, and by we, I mean middle class and upper middle class. We don't riot, but what we do is we bring in the National Guard. We bring in the military, or we bring in the police, and they crack down. And I can see that happening in a crazy way.
Yes.
I mean, just a crazy way. So the question then is, if he's the sacrificial lamb, we're going to go down this road here, but who's the one sacrificing him? Is because I'm going to tell you who the low-hanging fruit is, and I see everybody talking about it here. I'll tell you who the low-hanging fruit is. It's the left. 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 It's the left.
It's not the left.
I don't think so. Flesh that out for me a little bit. What do you think?
Okay. Have you ever heard of a TV show called 24?
Oh my gosh,
Jack Bauer.
Jack Bauer. I love Jack Bauer.
All right. Well, there's 8 seasons of 24, plus there's a bonus half season that they made 4 years after that. Okay. And just for fun, Lori and I, over the last couple of months, with whatever spare time that we have, we started watching 24. Okay. And you know what we found when we watched all 8 seasons of 24? You know what was included in those 8 seasons that you had no idea of because they hadn't happened the first time you watched 24?
What?
You have a bioweapon virus being released in a Trump-style hotel through an American scientific researcher who gives the bioweapon to China.
Oh my
God. This was in season 3. Then you have a president who at the beginning of his term is covering up a very, very hard secret. And the secret is he has Alzheimer's disease. Okay. Joe Biden. Okay. You have somebody who gets their ear bit off, right? And you have about a dozen different things. And I even wrote about it about 6 weeks ago. You have about a dozen different things related to COVID, the vaccine, the pandemic, the lockdown, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Trump Hotel, and all these different things. And now we're on the last episode of the bonus season, right? And you know what's happening? You're having Russia and China conspiring together to take down America. What happened last week with Putin and Xi Jinping and North Korea? So to answer your question, who took down Charlie Kirk? You want to know the answer? The same people who shot Donald Trump in the ear. That's who took him down.
So we're talking about, we're not talking about a deep state that doesn't just like Donald Trump.
No.
That's almost checkers. We're talking about a deep state level that wants, that's somewhere between a cult and deep state. Is that what you're getting at?
What we are talking about is exactly what this man warned us about in this book that I'm holding in my hand. Okay.
So one of our listeners is just watching right now, and I just saw it here. Where did he put it up there? One of them said, where is it here? Predictive programming. I wish I saw who it was. I should give him credit. But they said it was predictive programming. Let me scan up real quick. Anyway, whoever it was that just typed out, I glanced over and saw it. Yeah. That's exactly right. Predictive programming. Here's what the research says. Predictive programming is the idea that movies, TV shows, books, or other media are used to plant ideas in people's mind about future events. The theory says that by showing it first as fiction, people become desensitized or more accepting when it later happens in real life. Mm-hmm. For instance, a film showing a major disaster before a very similar real disaster occurs. So, that's The Simpsons. That's
X-Files did the X-Files spinoff, the Lone Gunman.
The Lone Gunman.
That was June 1st. They released that episode of them flying a hijacked plane into World Trade Center. June 1st, 2001.
That's right. That's right. And you know what's interesting too? I don't want to get too weird here, but you know,
you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, really. You brought something up. That girl was stabbed in the neck.
Yes.
And then he gets shot. With one bullet. Okay. I have friends that were Marine snipers in Afghanistan and the Middle East. Okay. You know what level you have to be at to take him out with a clean shot from a minimum of 200 yards away? You know what you would need? You would need a software program called Titan made by a company called Palantir. Yeah. That's what you would need to do a shot like that. Yeah. So
not saying that Palantir's involved, but
okay. So hang on a second. Hold that thought. Do you have a map? Do we have a map that we can bring up?
Yeah,
this is the map. Okay, so what you're looking at on the screen on the left-hand side, if you're looking at it the way I am, on the left-hand side is where Charlie Kirk was positioned, right?
Correct.
So then the shooter that they believe the shot came from over on where the other white dot is.
In that complex.
But it's odd to me when you look at it. It must be the way that he's sitting because it came through the side of his neck is what it looks like to me.
Right. Well, if you look at from what I saw, okay, you would have to take that white little lollipop that you have and put it on the other side of the building because he was shot in the right side of his neck. So the building came from his stage left.
That's what
the shot came from his stage left.
Okay. I thought that he was shot in the right and the exit wound was on the left.
I'm not sure. It looked like it may have.
Seemed like it was on the left.
Yeah, it looked like it was right on the front, to me anyways. But the close-up video has been taken down. That's pretty gruesome anyways. But
I have the close-up
video.
but
it's pretty. But it was like right here, it looked like.
Yeah.
But they shot him right in his jugular vein. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not trying to be.
And that's a high-stress situation for a gunman either anyways. I mean, think about that. There had to have been security all over that place. So for somebody to make that shot from that elevation going down, I mean, there's so many factors at play there. if you looked at, it's in more of like a stadium, so he's at the bottom of that. So you're deadly accurate.
Yeah, well, and so like Matthew Adams brings up a point here, and he says 200 yards isn't really that crazy, not easy, but not outside what's considered average in hunting. Now, I would possibly agree with that, Matthew, if you were talking about shooting a deer in the woods legally with no problem whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking about a lot of nerves, a lot of adrenaline, a lot of things going on, all the while with the risk of getting caught and all that, and plus it's one shot. And the other thing too is I would be willing to bet that when you're shooting a deer that you're not aiming for the smallest part of the deer. You're probably aiming for center mass somewhere around the heart, lung area, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He hit him. It looked like to me it was a one shot. Even the other sniper fired multiple shots, So, I mean, you can take that down, but I mean, I just think I think that that's a really stunning thing when you think about it.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Let's go back to Titan and what was the name?
Palantir.
Peter Thiel Company. Now, we said at the start of this podcast that September was chock full of things that are going on. Starting on September 15th up in San Francisco, Peter Thiel, who is one of the New York Times labels these people the A-gays, that they are out of the closet, outspoken, conservative, Republican homosexuals who are billionaires who are calling the shots to a very high degree in the Trump administration. And Peter Thiel is one of those people.
Okay.
Starting September 15th, he is giving a 4-part lecture series on the coming Antichrist.
Okay. So how does Peter Thiel have any kind of credentials for that?
Well, because he's a billionaire and he can do. But he co-founded PayPal. He co-founded OpenAI. He used to be partners with Elon Musk. They had a falling out over artificial intelligence. And then he went on to found with Alex Karp a company called Palantir. That is possibly the most evil company on the face of the earth.
Okay.
And he is deeply embedded with the Trump administration. He is deeply embedded with Vice President J.D. Vance. He donated millions of dollars to his campaign when he was running. And Donald Trump gave Peter Thiel and Palantir access to all the databases in the federal government on American citizens and has hired him to create a single database on American citizens. That's who he is.
Okay, so what we're getting at here is that we don't believe that this is just a lone gunman that hated Charlie Kirk.
No.
We're talking about Charlie Kirk being a sacrificial lamb.
Yes, martyr.
A martyr to bring in what if you had to, what do you think the next 3 months look like?
What do they look like? Donald Trump within days is going to issue executive orders, and with impunity, he is going to he's going to flood cities like Chicago, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and San Francisco with troops on the ground. And even on social media, just an hour ago, 2 hours ago, that guy who killed that Ukrainian girl, there's a whole movement on X right now for that man to be strung up and publicly executed. Okay, so people they're fired up, they're charged up, they are ready to fight, they are ready for battle, and they are ready to go against their perceived enemies. While the people who are really doing this are multiple levels removed, and they're looking down and laughing.
So, yeah, I mean, when you start looking at, he's got troops already deployed in Washington, Chicago, and now the list goes to Baltimore, New York, Oakland,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just growing left and right, you know. And so we were just doing a little bit of research. Palantir is something maybe we ought to do a Soul Trap episode on.
I've been writing about Palantir for 5 years now.
So just for our listeners, real quick, Palantir Technology is a U.S.-based software and data analytics company founded in 2003 by, you said, Peter Thiel, Karp, Stephen Cohen, others. Its name comes from Palantir, the seeing stones from Lord of the Rings. Man, this stuff is always interconnected, right?
Yep.
Which allow people to see across time and space, a fitting metaphor for what the software does. What they do, Palantir builds platforms that helps organizations integrate, analyze, blah, blah, blah. The software is used by government, defense, counterterrorism, law enforcement, predictive policing, the minor report. Do you remember that? There's others, corporation. Then you've got Palantir Gotham, used by intelligence agencies and militaries to detect patterns. I mean, it's a scary thing, man.
Yeah. Now, look at all the movie references. The company is called Palantir. That's from the Lord of the Rings. That's the all-seeing eye. Okay, that's what a Palantir is. Gotham. If you ever watch one of the Batman movies, you know what Gotham is.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, these people have created a company that is actually working on the things that you saw in movies like Minority Report and The Matrix.
Yes, I'm just thinking about that Minority Report.
Yes. They have a pre-crime software. I forget what the name of it is, but they are absolutely working on pre-crime. And here's a fun fact. Since Donald Trump became president, he has funneled $1 billion to Palantir for the work that he has tasked them with doing. Their stock last week was up 240%.
Palantir. You know what's so interesting is we go through this every time, man. You know, everybody talks about Donald Trump, but he's the father of the vaccine, not Fauci. He's the one that brought that in. He's the one that brought in Operation Warp Speed. He's the one that did that. He's the one that was all. And now here we are again. We voted this guy back in. And it's always, I mean, you know, Bill Clinton messed around with Monica Lewinsky, but it was George Bush who got us over the war in the Middle East. You know, you had the other guys that are around, but it was the other George Bush with 1,000 points of light that called for the New World Order. It always seems like these quote unquote right-wing saviors, they're the ones that seem to preside over the real collapse or these huge things, you know. Jeff Ward is talking about Stargate connected with that as well, too. And you might be right.
Stargate was the very first major announcement that Trump made after he became president, where he had Larry, whatever his name was, Larry Ellison from Oracle. And he said that that $500 billion had been raised and this Stargate thing was being formed. And the very first thing that Stargate is working on is an mRNA vaccine for cancer.
Okay, so President Donald Trump unveiled Stargate, a sweeping $500 billion private sector AI infrastructure initiative. According to Stargate filings, on and on. Yeah, man. And then it was funding. It was, of course, here's Elon Musk. In other words, he's connected with it again. But yeah, man, it's all interconnected. So when you look at what's going on today, I mean, you're saying that Charlie Kirk was not so much a danger to the establishment as he was a sacrifice for them to be able to move forward.
I mean, who was George Floyd? Think about who George Floyd was. He was nobody. Okay. He was a career criminal who put a gun to his pregnant wife's belly. Okay. He was a drug addict. George Floyd was a horrible person, but he made a really good martyr. Okay. Charlie Kirk was the opposite of George Floyd. Charlie Kirk, nobody was mad at Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk didn't incite. And in fact, one of the things that Charlie Kirk was famous for was going to these colleges where they had a lot of liberals, and by being upfront and honest and intelligent and open with them and taking their questions. He diffused so many situations. It is impossible that a raging liberal wanted to take him out. He didn't have enemies like that. But you know what Charlie Kirk makes? He makes a really, really good martyr. And you know what you're going to see? You're going to see there's photos of him with his beautiful young wife and his beautiful young children. And you are going to see statues of that really soon.
Yes.
That's what's coming. And that's going to be the justification. Okay. If you go back 5.5 years ago and you look at the riots from Black Lives Matter and Antifa, when that was done, $2 billion worth of insurance claims, the costliest riot in American history. And who was the very first person to die in those riots? A man by the last name of Dorn, David Dorn. You know who David Dorn was? He was a black man. You know who he was killed by? 7 Black Lives Matter members. Okay. He was. So one thing that you always have to look for, and this is a pattern that I've noticed over the last number of years, whenever you have something big, whenever these people, whoever these people are, whenever they do something, their calling card is a sacrifice. January 6th, Ashley Babbitt.
Yes.
Okay. Charlie Kirk was the sacrifice for what's coming.
Uh-huh.
And I want your viewers to hold my feet to the fire, because I've already said that soon, and very soon, we are going to see an explosion of activity coming from our federal government, and it's going to be Trump unleashed.
Yeah, I think it's going to be different. Here's the thing. If you were to go back to war with Germany, one of the safest places to live in the world was Germany in 1938, 1939, 1940, 1941. As long as you weren't a Jew, it was a pretty safe place to live. You know what I'm saying? Crime was real low. It was real, right? I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see a cyclical return of, and there's a book by Ted Bell. Will you look up Ted Bell, the book Post-Industrial Revolution? That's what I'm looking for. And he talked about Germany, how that the German middle class wanted that. They wanted a strong-arm guy to come in and stop all this nonsense so that they could get back to start making some money, get some lives. I think that we're going to see there will be the potential of a quote-unquote golden era, but it's going to be run by an iron fist.
Absolutely right. And this is going to be the justification. Look, when that guy got carjacked a couple of weeks ago, that was the justification for sending boots on the ground into Washington, D.C.
Yeah, who was that? Can one of you guys look up the carjack guy too? I wanted to get that. Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Right. So that was and that just happened a couple of weeks ago. He's already started to put the National Guard into Chicago. And you know what he's going to do tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? He's going to say, you know what? The American people have had enough of this, and now we're going to put our foot down. And when anybody pushes back, it's going to be a 2-word response: Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. Isn't it weird how they isn't it weird how there's a connection? One of our listeners, John Elam, he sent me some information. He said, Theo, and I'm going back, but it's just the interconnectivity. And this is what I think is so interesting. This is why we are the butterflies in the web. We are. Because, okay, Theo, his longtime partner was Matt Danzanins, I'm not even pronouncing it correctly, in Vienna, Austria. Another famous guy was from Austria, but I digress. On the 50th birthday, when he was reported to have proposed, this Danzian started his career as an investment banker at Bank of America. By 2007, when the couple were dating, Danzian, Theo's partner, was vice president of BlackRock. Now, what makes that so interesting is there was a BlackRock connection, if you remember, with one of the shooters or the attempted assassination of President Bush. Don't forget, there were 2 attempts on his life. One was the guy that did it in Butler. The other was the guy that tried to do it at the golf course.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that guy was in a BlackRock. I think they both were in BlackRock commercials at some point, right? And so you just see, like you said, you see this interconnectivity going on. And I agree with you. I think that is going to be the cry. Remember Charlie Kirk.
That's right.
Remember the Alamo. And I think it's going to give a lot of credit for people, a lot of leeway for them to be able to do what they want to do. Because, it's one thing if you took out somebody who was nasty, but I mean, Charlie Kirk was a cool guy, man.
Yeah.
Clean cut. Yeah.
Clean cut, beautiful wife, beautiful.
Everybody liked him.
Yeah, and it's just sickening when you see it. And here's the thing. I honestly think that Donald Trump, my take on him is that he is a genuine, honest to goodness, red-blooded, loving, American-loving guy who thinks he knows more than he does. And he's just simply a pawn. And
He's
like
a
you said,
total pawn. He is a total pawn.
He does not get what's going on. He thinks that he does, but he doesn't. Listen, we've got you on here. I don't want to let this go until, okay, if you guys are listening, and you guys have been with us now here, we've been talking about this. Let's take some questions. We've got Jeff Grider on. We've got Samuel who's handling research, and Brother Kevin over there. If you got a question, throw it up here on this stream here. We're interested in seeing what your questions are, what you think, if you have an idea. Okay, so No Name says here, I honestly think y'all have lost your way. I would agree with that. I've lost my way many times in life. But I don't think they're talking about us. I think they're having a side chat over there.
Yeah.
But we're really, really interested in seeing what you think. But I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. You're saying that what we're looking for is the unleashing of federal government power in America.
Yes, like we have never seen it before.
Okay, here we go. I got a great question here. It's a pretty good one. And this is from first name, last name. Okay, why no drone sweep? So, Kevin, you got a little bit more insight into the digital and into what do they mean by a drone sweep, and why wouldn't there have been that?
Similar to what they would have had at Trump's rally in Butler. You would have had drones in the air that the security would have been monitoring the area constantly. I mean, especially with drones and the AI technology, and that goes back to Palantir as well too. Like you said, Titan and all that. So they would have had drones in the air monitoring that, unless it was just blacked out.
Okay.
Unless there was a no-fly zone for them not to check on anything.
Okay, so Janet, and I could be pronouncing this really wrong, but Janet Latcher, she's got a good question here. Jeff, what else beside military presence will unfold? So when we unleash federal government, we're going to start going into the cities or whatever it is. What else do you see unfolding? Because once this starts cascading, I mean, Katie barred the door. So she wants to know, Janet wants to know, what else beside military presence do you think will unfold?
Well, if we look at what has already unfolded, the return of concentration camps to the United States. I didn't say Holocaust camps. I said concentration camps. And one of the main camps that they're using for these immigrants was, and I forget the name of the camp, but it was one of the main camps that they used for Japanese American citizens during World War II. Okay. When you have something like Alligator Alcatraz and people are applauding that, you live in West Florida, we live in Central Florida, and 30 minutes up the road from where we are right now, they're turning a huge section of the old Camp Blanding into a concentration camp. So what we're going to see is much more of what's already been put into place. Okay. Concentration camps have returned and National Guards are now patrolling. You don't fight crime with the National Guard. Crime is a chronic problem. You use the National Guard for a riot, for an explosion of activity. That's what the National Guard is for. You don't use the National Guard to fight crime. They're not crime fighters. Why are they there? So Jan Lacker is asking, what are we likely to see in the next 3 months? We're going to see he's been testing the waters with this alligator Alcatraz, and how many of these camps can I open up, and how far can I push this? Well, now he's going to push it much farther than he has been.
Yeah, well, just to clear something up too, and we're going to come back. There's another really good question, but Jordan asks, did Kirk ever have a clear testimony of salvation before his death? So it doesn't take a whole lot of work to look that up. There's a quote on the Charlie Kirk show where he says, quote, "The most important decision I made in my life was in 5th grade when I made Jesus Christ my Lord and Savior. Done deal." He also said, none of that is helpful unless you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. He said, I've basically, let's see here. There's, quote, "nothing I can do to earn eternal life, and eternal life is a gift. And I accepted Jesus Christ to be the chairman of the board of my life and the most important decision I've ever made." So
that's it.
Now the answer is yes. And if that's not good enough for you, then you probably should put on a suit and go find a Sword of the Lord church. I digress. I digress. Okay, we got another one. You got time for a few more questions? I see.
Sure.
Okay, let's see here. We Holy Spirit Streets talks about Freemason sacrifice. That's probably getting down in the weeds a little bit. But let me see here. So what do you think, Macron? I saw somebody print, okay, S, and then I'm going to butcher this name, forgive me. Turnipsky, S. Turnipsky said, what do you believe Emmanuel Macron is going to bring to the table on the 22nd? Hey, September is a hot month. So first of all, what is happening on the 22nd, and what do you think Macron is going to bring to the table? The guy that's married to a guy.
Well, first of all, I do not believe that Brigitte Macron is a man, and I believe that Candace Owens is mentally unbalanced and completely insane. And if she ever gets taken to court, she's going to get slaughtered because, there's a lot wrong with Emmanuel Macron's marriage. And I could take you to Daniel chapter 11, and I could show you some things that are wrong with his marriage. But I can guarantee you that his wife is a woman. But what is Emmanuel Macron going to bring to the table on the 22nd? Well, he's bringing with him Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And Mohammed bin Salman is throwing his considerable weight and influence behind Macron, as is the King Abdullah of Jordan, who controls the Temple Mount in Israel. So Macron is bringing a gang with him. They're at 147 nations now that have recognized Palestine. They only need 13 more, and Palestine will exist according to the UN Charter. And I believe that Emmanuel Macron is going to bring with now, but I have to couch that statement with this. We've been doing Now the End Begins for almost 17 years. And one of the main things that we've been reporting on during that time period is, when is the third temple going to be built? When is Palestine, according to Joel, 3:2, when is that going to come into existence, right? Emmanuel Macron is a lightning rod, and he is assembling together a team that highly likely is going to be successful this time around. And it has nothing to do with the potential rapture on the 23rd or anything like that. But the time is right. The time is right. Israel is, they are at their wits' end. They really, really are. And this strike that they did yesterday in Doha, very impressive strike, but that is only serving to marshal support for a state of Palestine. So that's what I think he's bringing to the United Nations. He's bringing Mohammed bin Salman and the entire weight of the Muslim world. That's what he's bringing with him.
So what's interesting is one of the guys just sent me a note and said, one of our production team, Feast of Trumpets starts the same day as Macron is speaking on the 22nd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be interesting. You know, it is interesting because you have this with the young lady that got killed. You have Charlie Kirk. You have this Macron, and what's going on. Israel is destroying Gaza and they're eviscerating that. I mean, they're done with that. That ship has sailed. I, honest to goodness, think that they're leveling. It's like a construction zone. They're leveling it so they can come and put Trump towers in there, and that might be a possibility. I know we're joking, but that very well could be a possibility. And then on top of everything, yesterday and today, we start seeing the video. Did you see the video of the UFO that got hit by the Hellfire missile?
I wrote about that yesterday.
What do you think?
I think that now we have been reporting on UFOs for about 14 years, and something astonishing happened back in 2019. The U.S. government, who for a half century had been calling anybody who believed in Area 51 anything a conspiracy theory nutcase. And then in 2019, without any explanation, they simply reversed their position and acknowledged the existence of UFOs. They changed the name from UFO to UAP, and then they created Space Force.
Yeah.
So
it's weird.
So that thing that was hit by the Hellfire missile and kept going.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those things, but the government won't reveal it. They look. You know what else died today? You want to know what else died today? The Epstein files died today.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Okay. If you want to really, really open this thing and hold it up to the light, no more Epstein files now. No, Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. Nobody cares about the Epstein files now. But let the record show Trump didn't reveal any of it. Okay. He didn't reveal anything on the JFK assassination, on the Martin Luther King assassination. He didn't reveal anything on the UFOs. Right?
That's crazy, man. So Samuel was just looking at something. We're going to try to throw it up on the screen here in just a second. You talked about Charlie Kirk being the sacrificial martyr.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you have to have? What would really make it really good is three things maybe. Number one, you have the martyr himself. Number two is if they didn't find a shooter or it was just unclear. But if you really wanted to stoke the fire, what if what was good for the goose is good for the gander? We've been saying this has been a hoax, this has been a false flag, this has been a hoax, this has been a false flag. You want to rile our side up now? What if that turned around and started being what was thrown around back at us? Samuel, you were doing some research here while we're online. Explain to us what you found and what we're bringing up here online. What was it that you found, and then what is it that we're looking at right here?
Yeah, well, once it's able to be pulled up on the screen, and bear with us just because we're live, it's hard to do things on the fly like this. Trying to keep a close tab on if we get any information on the shooter. And Google has a new feature where it will give you an AI helper. And I thought, you know what? Let's see what AI thinks about this. And you'll see once we get it up on the picture, according to the AI, there was no shooting. Charlie Kirk faked his death, and it was a false flag. And you can see it on there once we get it going. But
oh, wow.
That's some interesting stuff.
That's AI saying that.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's just a flood of information. Now, Terry Bryant, she's got a great insight, Terry.
Oh, that's good.
And if you will send us a personal message, you have earned yourself a soul trap. Have we got any of those additional hats? Have we got a hat?
We got some laying around.
We got something. Terry, if you will send us a private message with your mailing address, we will send you a little swag package She came up with this, man. Look at what she says. She says Kennedy was first struck in the neck.
That's right.
Same first struck in the neck. Interesting. That's a good connection there. We were trying
Have
to
a
kind of
lot of people being shot in the neck.
Yeah. Well, I wonder the carjacking. Oh, wait a second. The guy that was where they sent in Washington, D.C. What was the deal with him? What happened to him?
He was carjacked by 6 or 7 thugs and he was beaten up.
Yeah. Okay. But there wasn't any. He didn't get attacked. I'm trying to look if there's any. I'm searching as we're going online if there was anything, because the thing about it is the occultists love these. They love the numbers. They love the show. And especially if this was some kind of a sacrificial setup like this, that's going to be very interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very, very cool. It's so odd that we're talking about this. I want to circle back around before we finish, because it really, we can sit here and discuss all this back and forth, but at the end of the day, I mean, that man was shot.
Yes.
And died. And I think what bothers me, and I think you put your finger on it, is that it was a senseless death. It wasn't, I mean, it was a political assassination, yes, but it wasn't like Archduke Ferdinand or that kind of thing like that. What makes it feel nasty is that, like you said, you know how you get gypped, you know how you get cheated, you get ripped off, and you just feel it in your gut. That's the feeling.
It's personal.
It's personal. Say that again, Samuel. And let's go back to that, some of the younger, because hold that thought, because Jeff, I think that this is going to have lasting impact with the younger generation.
Yes. He was their leader.
Yeah.
Well, I just think it's incredibly personal, because if you wanted to destroy the conservative side of the politics right now, you would hit our president, our vice president, but instead they went for someone personal. They went for the voice of the young people, and on camera, on video, they took this guy out, basically saying, listen, you have your people in power, but we're silencing you. You're not allowed to share your opinions. You keep them to yourself, and this is what happens when someone who has no political influence, they just spoke up too loud. This is the price you pay for that. It's very personal. I think that's why it hurts so much.
Yeah, Kevin, what's your take? We've been discussing this and dealing with this. I mean, you got that transgender shooter just a little bit ago. I mean, that's also dead in the news now.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the girl on the train, it's dead. And I'm going to tell you, man, I know that our feed is full, but my phone blew up this afternoon.
Yeah.
People cannot believe that. I don't think even Ashley Babbitt, the thing about it is with her is that she was actually in the building. So it was kind of like, this was just, I mean, he was shot cold blooded, man. And I think this one's going to sting. What is your take on it?
Yeah, I think just like you said, with the trans shooter, and then there was that shooting, same today in Colorado, the girl stabbed. Everything's just, we talked earlier, it's a tipping point. They're overstimulating the population now with so many things. If it's not a UFO, it's a murder, it's a carjacking, it's Palantir doing some crazy things. It's just a lot going on, and it's just a mass distraction, and it's going to just push everybody over the edge. I think they want chaos in the streets. They want that. They want that. That's what brings more power in. That's what they want to happen.
It's interesting. It's just so many connections. We could sit here all night. John Elam sent us another text. Have you ever heard of the phrase, you're going to get it in the neck?
Yep.
Yeah, it originated from the 19th century American use of an expression. Watch this now. Described by someone who was shot or otherwise victimized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what it is. It is. And that goes back to that Clive, and I can't remember the Clive Piven. Their whole thing, about overloading the system.
Oh, yeah. Cloward Piven.
Cloward Piven, yeah. But I think you're right, brother. I think you're on to something here. I mean, I don't know. I think you're on to something. That to me has been the thing that's amazing to me that people have been ignoring is that, yeah, we're going to send troops into the cities.
Yeah.
I mean, that is huge, huge. That's huge. Even if it's not a large contingency, the fact that it is there is a fact that's huge. And that is, I think this is going to open the door because you've got the girl that was shot. I wouldn't be surprised. See, initially the shooter that I thought they had was an older white man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But if they really want to stoke this thing, we all know that this guy's got to fit a certain demographic. So this shooter has to fit a demographic. Then you can really open up the doors.
So I was sent this. I don't want to put it up because I don't want to.
Okay.
I can't verify this right now. But there was a person on Twitter on X saying that their name was Omar, and they said Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope someone evaporates him. Literally, he says, "Let's just say something big will happen tomorrow," and then I'm not going to show this to. I don't want to go on it, but the person is basically trans. If this person is the shooter, it's a trans shooter. So then that would just fit the whole bill. And that's what, remember Elon Musk, doesn't he has a trans child. And one of the things he says in one of the interviews, one of the reason why he's being so politically active is he can't stand the trans movement and he wants to take it down.
Yeah.
So they're just going to put more of that just fuels the fire.
Yeah, well, and and it keeps coming back and forth, man. There's another guy on X, says there's absolutely no doubt, and this guy has a little bit of connection, same thing, no doubt that Charlie Kirk was killed by an intelligence-grade assassin. This was not a crazy leftist or someone random civilian. Let's see here. A well-placed shot from 200 yards out, down angle from a rooftop directly in the neck. Precision like that doesn't come from a protester with a grudge. It comes from someone who's drilled with 1,000 times under military glass. Whoever's behind this was highly skilled marksman who had logistics, support, and funding with a well-executed retreat plan.
I agree with every bit of what you just said. And it's the same people who shot Trump and killed that guy, Corey, whatever his last name was.
Yeah.
Trump, where, look, when you see the sacrifice, you know that those people are being active. Today, we saw the sacrifice. We saw Charlie Kirk, right, who nobody had a problem with, become the martyr for the movement, the authoritarian movement that is going to be launched tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. It's coming. Yeah. And it's going to come at a blistering full speed pace. There'll be no doubt in people's minds when they see it come.
Wow. Absolutely crazy. Were you guys pulling something up over there?
There was a video that came out that's got an angle of what might be the shooter taken from the perspective of someone who's behind the tent in a building.
Interesting.
So it looks like the shooter was on the rooftop. But what's interesting in the video is right after the shot, when you pan to the silhouette, the person's not still waiting to see if the job's done. They've got their stuff and they're running.
Can you bear with us as we try to pull this up?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, send that to me.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah. I'm just looking if we have any other look at the shooting video, slow down frame by frame. Something's very off. Letters dispersed off his shirt. His right wing's on the floor, moved his ring finger to his pinky. So no, I think this was a real thing. I don't think that this was a false flag. I think he was really shot, and it really was. Jeff Ward says 2004 days since 15 days to flatten the curve.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Yeah.
Today is day 2004. That's what today is.
That's absolutely crazy. Are you guys looking at that video?
Trying to.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull it. You got it or no?
It's on the New York Times. I'm having trouble. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So it's pretty wild when you think about it, man. So what do you think Israel is going to, one of the questions came up is, do you think Israel is ever going to drop out of the UN?
No.
Do you think,
no.
okay,
They can't. They can't. But if you go to, I think it's is it Numbers 23, where God is telling them that they shall not be reckoned among the nations? Okay. Israel was made to be the standalone nation. They were expressly told not to join themselves to the other nations that were round about them. But as much as they hate the UN, as much as they talk against it, and as much as the UN hates them, it is a mutually beneficial relationship.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're trying to get the video up right now. We're trying to find it. We can get it right there. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't know how they do that and it not, I just don't think it can happen like that. It is amazing. They're trying. Everybody's trying to show this video, but it's amazing how much is getting scrubbed really quick online with this.
I think I got it.
We think we got it. Bear with us, guys. We appreciate you guys bearing with us. But I think
I've seen this video.
Yeah.
And he's running across the rooftop.
Yeah. All right, let's pull it up.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is right there. Yeah, can we pull it a little bit bigger for our viewers? All right, watch it right there. There it is.
I see it.
What do they call it? One shot, one kill?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened.
Yeah,
That was somebody who was, as Sam said, expertly trained at what they did.
Yes. Yes.
And they're never gonna find him. And the person that the FBI had in custody, they let them go like an hour ago. They have no leads. They have nothing.
Wow. And that's what's going to burn. That's what's going to really burn. If there was somebody, then it is. But it's going to fuel the fire even more. Yeah. It's going to fuel the fire. And I think it really is, man. I don't know how the right wing or the Charlie Kirk kind of a group doesn't look at the internal government and go, hey, our government did that. That's not a left wing craze.
No,
it's not. That was a professional grade assassination that he was taken out, and they are setting us up for a civil war.
Yeah, and they took him out when he was asked a question about mass shootings, mass public shootings. He was in the middle of answering that question when the bullet hit his neck.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, we want to pray at the end of the day for his wife and family. And I think we need to pray for our country. I think we need to pray for our nation. And I think, like you said, these next several days are going to be very fascinating to see what happens. Because I'm going to tell you, there's going to be an uproar, and there's going to be so much almost 9/11-like memorial kind of a stuff that it's going to open up the door for Donald Trump and others to be able to say, hey, we need to lock this stuff down. You're exactly right. The federal government
unleashed. Trump unleashed.
And he has no worries because he doesn't have to get reelected.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And he's going to do whatever he wants. Unbelievable. My goodness alive. All right, I got here one other quick. Jordan is saying gunshot, not bullet. I'm not sure what that means. Yes, Matthew Adams says Trump ordered flags to half mast. It did take the crowd a little while. It took them a little bit to figure out what was going on because it was such a startling thing, I think. But yeah, absolutely.
Well, this could be the perfect environment for the beginning of the Civil War is memorials for Charlie Kirk. We already saw on Twitter, on X, all the people mocking him being killed.
That was disgusting. Countless. That was disgusting.
So you're gonna have memorials for him all over. And then you're gonna have people show up to those memorials who are on the opposite side, and then that could be a very place ripe for an explosion there.
Yeah. So already though it's starting. Okay. Let me see here if I can get this. Trump released a video statement following the go after. Okay. Just in, President Trump released a video statement following the death of Charlie Kirk, vows to go after organizations that fund radical left extremism. This is a dark moment for America. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie, on and on and on. The problem is now Trump and his MAGA knee-jerk will support more of the police state violence Trump is advocating. I mean, there it is, man. You know, we're going to start going after him.
What goes to show like the wickedness of the world too, that people are arguing, like I see in the comments, people are arguing about this stuff, people celebrating the death of a man. When it boils down to, it's a man with a wife and kids was shot today. It's just the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know? It's crazy.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah, unbelievable. It really is. Yeah. I'm looking. Okay. Well, listen, we may be having you back on here again soon, man. I mean, it just depends on what's going to happen, but we are here. Hey, guys, I appreciate you. I hope that in some way us just talking tonight, going through this, sharing this moment together has been a help. You know, make sure to go check out Now the End Begins. Make sure to check out the Soul Trap. Like and share, get the information out. And then let's make sure that we stay the course, because now is not the time for us to just, you know, dig a hole and go hide in the ground. Now is the time for us to get the gospel out as much, as hard as we possibly can. And I think it's just going to be absolutely fantastic. Jeff, thanks for coming on last minute, working with all the technical difficulties.
Thanks for having me.
You guys be safe. And just so we're all clear, all of our brakes work. We're not suicidal. We're all happy. We're going to sleep. We're fine. We're good, for the record.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right, guys. This is the Soul Trap. This is Now the End Begins. We are signing off. God bless you. Stay on that straight, good, and narrow way.